You're an artist on record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artists. In the hot seat, we have Eric Martin of Mr.Big. Don't touch that dial. Let me ask you, when Pat was going through his illness and that whole time, it just how was he mentally handling stuff himself?
He never, we hung out a little bit more. When we did an album called Stories We Could Tell, I don't remember, I want to say 2016, 15, 16. And I don't want to go into all of that, but it was Billy and Paul was on the road doing clinics or whatever. And it was me and Pat and this guy, Pat Regan, who was our producer. He also produced the album with Richie Kotzen called Get Over It.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing the Stories album, and we did it above Pat's garage in Studio City. And we're all, Pat had a little, he was super tired. And I go, God, are you okay? And he goes, I gotta tell you something. He had a little bit of wetnesses in his eyes, and he goes, I went to the doctor, this neurologist, I can't even speak today. This makes you hyper, but it makes you have like slurred speech. It's kind of like blues.
Trust me, I understand all types of language because I don't speak it right.
So he goes, I have Parkinson's. And I'm like, what? And you could see it kind of, he had it for a while, and his right hand was shaking, and I don't know, right foot shook, and his left hand shook. And you could see it a little bit. And and I've said this before, and it sounds harsh, but you don't know what to do in this situation. We were writing songs, and I was finding like all these old, what we used to call sniglets. Paul Gilbert would write a couple riffs on and put it down on a cassette, and I would take the sniglet, 10 sniglets, and make one song. And we were writing and arranging, me and Pat, with Pat Regan, running Pro Tools. And when he told me this, and we were right in the middle of doing something, I pulled like a Cher in Moonstruck, and I go, snap out of it. I didn't hit him, but like, it's like, snap. Hey, I go, all right, snap out of it. Let's go. We got work to do. And he goes, right. And all the while, I'm turning around and look at Pat Regan, and he's going, oh, God. I mean, so it's such a overwhelming black cloud over all of us, and how he had to, I have Parkinson's, Eric. And I'm like, and I immediately, all I could think of was Michael J. Fox, and I go, oh, this is what this is. He couldn't find, we knew he had something going on over the years, but long story short, we worked together, and it was, I think I mentioned to Billy and Paul, no, it was Paul. Yeah, of course, Paul's. And I said, okay, we're going to get together. We're going to do a tour. And Pat was like, I don't think he said, I don't want to slow you down. I'm good. Get somebody else. And I'm like, no, Pat. And we rallied, man. We got him back into it. I mean, he could have just, it wouldn't have been good for his psychologically either, but he goes, I can't play the drums anymore. I mean, it was over. He would play 10 songs with Matt would do thing, and then Pat would play 10 songs, and then it became 8 to 5 to 3 to only 1. And it was, he could play Just Take My Heart, and he could play the one from the Stories album called Fragile.
Torpey on the drum kit.
And he could play Fragile, when that was his last song he could play. And then he moved over to the Cocktail Kit, and he played that. but he never showed us that he was in pain or anything. I mean, even when we played Daddy Brother, that was our first song always, he would be behind the curtain and it would be Matt playing, and he'd be behind the curtain singing harmonies, and then he'd come out for Alive and Kicking and do the thing, and that was like our little show shtick. And we did that for a long time, but he never showed his illness, even to the point where, you know, we this is kind of the fun part for me too. I mean, I love playing the gig, but the last song we would play, we would switch instruments. I would play bass guitar, Billy would play lead, Paul would play drums, and Pat would be the lead singer. And oh man, one time I got to play drums. We all knew we could all play different instruments. And we were at Budokan, and there's Pat, and there's catwalks and catwalks everywhere. And we were playing Living After Midnight. We do covers, you know.
Yeah.
We would play Suffragette City one time over the years. We played like, have you heard the news? There's good rock in the night. We did that. We did Joy to the World.
Three Dog Night. Yeah. Yeah.
But we played that Living After Midnight, and Pat put on his leather jacket and sunglasses, and he was like, breaking the what? You know, he's like talking to the audience, and he runs all up and down this catwalk. I'm like, and he come back and he's a little out of breath. And I'm like, I remember saying to him, and I go, are you sure you're sick? Are you bullshitting here? Because you couldn't tell. I mean, his foot shook so much, and hey, here's one. This is weird. His first gig on tour, he comes out to the lip of the stage, and everybody knows by now that he has Parkinson's. Obviously, he's not playing the drums. And he goes, I mean, there was 80 shows of this kind of thing. He said the same thing every night, but when he first said this, and we're back there, and he comes out, and he goes, hey, everybody, a whole lot of shaking going on. Oh my God. Our audience, like, we were like, you couldn't. And then it was like, come on, snap out of it. Let's go on with the show. They would say that all the time, and to break the ice. Yeah, man, he was an all-American boy. He was a trooper.
He was a
throughout
trooper.
the whole thing. Oh my God. He was, you know, he was a guy that would do 100 sit-ups and push-ups before the show. He was like, the contortionist, but he
Double jointed. He was double jointed.
Yeah, he could take his hand and put it against his arm, and he could just do all these weird things. He could juggle. He was like he could do it all. He was really, really strong. Hey, any guy at our age, you know, he's playing drums and he's taking his shirt off. I'm like, I can't do that anymore. He'd take his shirt off, and he was like Charles Atlas, you know.
That's funny, huh?
Yeah.
He took care of himself.
He took care of himself. Super intelligent guy. I mean, scientist, super intelligent.
Lead me to your door, Tokyo.
That was Eric Martin. If you want to see more of this episode, click on the box right up here. Until then, everybody, you're beautiful. And remember, who loves you, baby? We do. Now get out of here, you crazy kids.